LGBTQ musicals in Ireland. Their time is coming to an end. The chair now recognizes Representative Connolly.
Thank you. And Ted, welcome back. It's good to see you. Mr. Natsios, when you were aid administrator, did you oversee an agency that was rife with LGBTQ dances in Ireland and, I don't know, condoms to the tune of 2 million in Gaza and all kinds of iffy, marginal, flaky projects that were funded with U.S. taxpayer money, bringing dishonor to the United States of America? Would that be a fair characterization of AID from your point of view?
Well, it certainly wasn't when I was there. And I don't think it is now myself, but I do think there are programs that I saw on the list that I would not have allowed in my agency.
Well, let's stipulate that, but let's not let that characterize AID, because all of us are losers if that succeeds, it seems to me. Global health. What percentage of AID's work would fall under the rubric of global health? Fighting disease, child maternal health care, or rehydration projects, on and on. Polio, cystic
$8 billion.
What's that?
$8 billion.
$8 billion out of 40?
Out of $38 billion last
Out of
year.
38. So big chunk. What about food security and nutrition
the
programs?
Emergency response part of aid is now by far the largest. It's $15 billion. It just amazes me because it's so much more that I had when I was in office.
So 23 of the 38 billion is just those two categories.
That is correct.
And those aren't fringe projects. Those are really life-saving projects.
Yes, they
is that
are.
Fair characterization?
Yes.
And what about disaster relief?
Well, the $15 billion is the food security. Food security for me is the emergency side. Agriculture is separate from that, and that's what I think you're talking about in the longer-term development sense.
But when we're talking about disaster assistance, we're not only talking food.
No.
For example, my fire department is part of a FEMA AID relationship,
Right,
where they can go to trouble spots overseas and, again, try to save lives.
Right. I don't know what part of the $15 billion is food versus what we call non-food assistance, which is usually emergency medical care and public health, like immunizing kids in refugee camps and that kind of thing.
So
I don't know the breakdown.
So let's say one were sincere about wanting to clean up marginal, fringy projects that should never have been funded. Is the way to do that to basically announce we're going to fire 10,000 employees and leave 239 left?
It is not.
And what would be the consequences of depopulating the agency to the tune of 10,000 out of 10,239 employees?
My experience, I've run 7 institutions in the last 50 years now. The aid officers that I work with were among the smartest and the best managers that I've worked with, and the most creative, because the circumstances they deal with in the developing world are very challenging. I think losing career people is like losing the cadre of the military officers. It's a disaster for the United States.
And the chairman seems to be under the impression that the appropriations bill provides blanket authority to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I beg to differ. My view is that ultimately AID was established by statute in the Foreign Assistance Act of 1961 as amended. And if you want to dismantle or fold it into another organization, you must get statutory authority from the United States Congress, and we certainly will fight that out. Final point, Mr. Natsios, and maybe Ted Yoho, you may want to comment as well. I'm worried about the vacuum being created by these actions, that China is going to waltz right in there. They're already big actors. Now we, the United States, are going to make them even more so, and I struggle to see how that's in an American interest. Why don't you comment?
It's going to drive people closer to China, Russia, the adversaries, and we see this. But I saw that before, too, with the programs. I had one of the past presidents of Ghana say that if we want aid, but if we have one party from the United States in power, they have a short list. If we have another one, it's a long list. He goes, if we go to China, they say, here's your money. But they said this, I would rather do business with the United States. That's something that we can take advantage, and we need to focus on those things, because that makes us stronger, safer, and more prosperous, not just here, but in those other countries. We need to get back to the basic mission here.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Connolly. Gentleman from New Jersey, Representative Kane, is recognized.
Thank